Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to the final session before the Easter break, much anticipated by all. And it's an exciting day. I'd like to not only take you deep into the modules and show you how all that works on Writer's Toolbox, look at the performance page, but I have something special I'd like to begin with, because we're all busy here in Teacherland doing the things that we do, but the IT team at Writer's Toolbox never sleep. And so I've got some special features I'd like to show you today that the men and women in this team have been working on so diligently in response to some of the things that you've been asking for. So without further ado, let's jump in first and have a look at the daily challenge. I hope your students have been doing those. I hope you've been doing them. We spend a lot of time every day crafting these wonderfully for you. So let's just have a look at today's daily challenge on Writer's Toolbox. Here's my teacher account, and I'll open it up and we'll have a look. And it's Thoughtful Thursday. It's only 10 o'clock in the morning, and George's face did not look like breakfast. "What Easter eggs?" said George. "I don't know what you're talking about." Today's challenge is to write the tale behind George's morning munch. And when you do, include the words sneaked, gobbled, burped, and giggled. It's a delightful challenge, one I'm sure you'll agree that your students will relish. I particularly like George's face. His innocence and chocolate merged as one. It's just delightful. But we've done something else, and this is where I'd like to show you something. Because let's, for a second, log out of the teacher screen. Your screen's unchanged. If you press the daily challenge as a teacher, this is what you see. And you can project it from the classroom in your room. If, of course, you're not in the classroom, or let's just be the student out there in student land at the moment, I'll log out as the teacher and I'll log in as a student. And as you know, we had built this about 2 weeks ago, so it was there for you as a teacher, the daily challenge. That was great. And then we opened it up for your students. That was great. But then, you're smarter than we are. You've said the obvious thing, of course. Well, how do my students actually do the writing? They can do it in pen and paper, or they can do it on one of the writing tools. But how do they can see it and they can do it? Well, now if your student clicks on the target, that's what happens. Immediately, they're taken into FreeWriter. It's already got the task there waiting for them, and they can cast their piece inside the writing tool with the daily challenge there. Oh, we've already got a wow. Thank you. That's cool. But wait, there's more. If I want to see George in all his fine, there he is. And I've got George big time in front of me. And I'm George here writing this. And you can see my stories trickling along here. I've got George loved breakfast. It was well, let's make it zoom up so you can see it. I do love the zoom tool. It's terrific. Look at this. I can use my zoom tool, make the text bigger. That's just lovely. George loved breakfast. It was the best meal of the day. He gobbled and burped his way through most things, especially porridge. Today, however, was different. After an unusually hearty breakfast, and I've sort of run out of steam. But here's the benefit. Because I've showed you these features this week, and we've locked this in here in free writer, I can go back and do some creativity. Well, I think I might talk about, I've got to get donuts in there somewhere, possibly Easter eggs. I don't know, where's this chocolate come from? But I've just got porridge on the brain. Let's do another one. I think somehow I'd like to get in the dog Rover into the story. I think Rover would work quite well in the story. And let's put Mum in there somewhere. She would probably fit. And I think probably there may be a cupboard as well. Then I'll just go straight back to writing. From the Tools menu, I can now bring down my mind map and look. There are the ideas I've been working on as a student as I want to finish my story. I can bring up different sentence styles. And I've got it there as I'm working on my piece. I'm quite excited about these new parts of the tool, and I think your students will too, because it gets better still. Stay with me. After his unusually hearty breakfast of porridge, George was not, let's get the zoom up so you can see it brilliantly, was not satisfied. He sneaked into the kitchen cupboard, but not before taking with him his faithful friend and family pet, Rover. Dog Rover. There in the blissful darkness, George and Rover set to on the family's supply of Easter eggs. By 10 a.m., there was just George, Rover, and 15 empty packets. So there's Boris's attempt. But you're probably sitting there going, well, that's very nice, but what about the teacher? Well, let's see what happens. Boris goes out and thinks, well, yes, I quite liked my daily write. I might go back into it. So click on work, and we have created a dedicated folder just to daily challenges. Every time your student, I'll do that again, you can see where I went. Every time your student casts a response to the daily challenge, all their work's in the work folder here on Writer's Toolbox, and everything beautifully pocketed into this daily challenge. Let's look at the teacher perspective, because there's more. I'll log out as Boris, and I'll log in as the teacher. Let's just go in my classes. And I'm wondering how Boris is getting on with his daily write. So I click on Boris. And this, of course, wonderfully gives you a complete snapshot into your students' progress. You can see that. But let's, this is performance, is learning journey, classes. Let's just go into work. And I'll click on work, click into daily challenges. And there is Boris's writing. So you now have that feature. I can even see Boris's mind map. Any component of Boris's thinking and crafting process is available to me as a teacher, from his idea generation right through to his writing. Now I can see what you're all thinking because the questions are coming in. You're now saying, well, that's great, Ian, but how do we, that's great, Ian, but how do we actually write comments on these things? Because we'd love to. Well, the IT staff need to get some sleep, you must realize. But don't worry, we have anticipated this and it's coming. In fact, I suspect it'll be with you within the next 2 weeks as we completely roll out this feature with all the wraparound bits that you need. But we're pretty excited, as I think probably you are too, about how this is progressing and the way your students and you can use this fun start to the day and capture that work and get help too now as they write. So let's think about today's topic itself and the modules. I'd like to speak to you about our learning modules, show you a little bit how they work, and also how the student experiences them in the classroom. If we get time, I'll also talk you through our performance page and what all that data means on your students and their writing ability. So let's hop straight in to modules. I'm in my teacher account, so let me just log out for a second and I'll go back in as a student. Let's experience it from the student's perspective. Sharon's popped a question through. Thank you, Sharon. She said, where can we email questions to? Yes, of course. Well, you've got several options. Support@writethatessay.org always works very well. You can fire an email straight through to that and the support team pick that up immediately. So fire them through, Sharon. We'd love to have your questions. This is Boris's main dashboard. And let's have a look at the module architecture and how these modules work. There's 2 roads in for the student. Think about it like this. We have the personal journey that is already personalized for the student around what they might learn during the year using the modules. And then as well as this, the student can self-pace themselves and explore other concepts they might want to learn. So let's do the personalized journey first. I'm in here as a student, I've clicked performance, and I have 2 screens. Here's my writing performance in front of me, but I also have a learning journey. A learning journey is where plotted out for me the writing skills I should be learning according to my age and stage as a writer. These topics on the left-hand side here are, of course, the modules. I can click on one, it takes me through to the module, and here I have both a video on the concept, some writing explaining the concept that's being taught to me, in this case, the sentence as a train. And this delightful way to teach children, especially early on, the components of sentences and how they work. I have activities. Now they're quite useful. They're PDFs. You can download that and immediately here on your screen is an interactive PDF that the students can do as an activity. They're useful. One of our big tasks this year is to integrate all these actually into the site. So stay with us. These PDFs are all being built as live activities within the site. And then there's a module quiz. We'll do a quiz in a second. Because I'd like to go back to the performance page just for a second and the learning journey. You can see here my student, Boris, he's already done the quiz for sentences to train and got 10 out of 10. So let's go to something else that he's not so good at and see how he gets on. Let's go in the simple sentence. Again, we have a video that you can watch based on the simple sentence. We have words explaining the concept of the simple sentence, and you can learn about how that's constructed and why we call it that. And we have always here through the side examples from real authors who have written that type of sentence. Roald Dahl, C.S. Lewis, and Jeff Kinney there from Diary of a Wimpy Kid. We have a module quiz and this thing called Mega Chocolate. The module quiz assumes that you have watched the video, read the material on this module, and you are prepped now, ready to do it. So let's do one, and I'll show you what's involved. I click on module quiz. I'm against the clock. I've got 5 minutes to do 10 questions. Well, with your help, this will be easy. Simple sentence, well, is easy to understand, easy words. I think we'll just try that one. Always starts with persons. Let's try C. C is a reliable way to get through. We'll see what happens. C's, adjectives, absolutely. Subject of this sentence, he waved his magic wand and turned his sister into a frog. Oh, crikey. I could get tripped up here on the fly. We'll try Egyptian's pyramids. How many words make up the whole subject? Oh, gosh. Oh, dear. Which of these is pronouns? Which of these? Oh, gosh. Try that. At the end of the day, I find a simple sentence. Dad was not very good at skateboarding. That's the simple sentence. 10 out of 10. Which of these sentences is not the simple sentence? Harry and Ethan gobbled all the biscuits. France is the third last. After, oh gosh. After he barked at the post, Rufus, try that. Oh, I have to have a drink now. Where's the water? So the result, which I really wanted to show you, was when they finish the quiz, in the module itself, the student is shown which ones they got right, which ones they got wrong. And if you're borderline, because a number of these questions have the next best answer or the closest one, you'll see a little orange squiggle. But there's my result. I can return to the module and have another go. Now, the delightful feature here is these stories. So let's go in here. And we have built this so that you've got now some comprehension tasks, reading comprehension tasks inside Writer's Toolbox for your students. You'll see these progressively expand over the next few weeks where the team are busy loading in a whole lot more stories even as I speak. And the story has two components. There's the story itself, and down here it says Story Challenge Quiz. There's a content quiz, which essentially tests my comprehension skills on that story, and then a writing quiz that says, well, now you know about the material, can you answer now these questions based on the simple sentence that you're trying to learn? So let's do one. Content quiz. And this is all about Thornton's chocolates, quite delicious. I don't know if you've ever had one, but they make particularly nice pralines. But Thornton's, here we go, we'll try. Name of the company that lost the world. Oh, look, I'll just try B again, see what happens. Inside the factory, yes. They never won anything. How many kilograms of chocolate were poured into the mold per hour? Oh gosh, 5. There we go, there it is. Now, how big was the chocolate mold? Blimey, it was large, of course. It probably large. There we go. Why did the crane lift the mold up? Well, probably to weigh the chocolate. What sort of chocolate? Let's just go with milk chocolate, probably. It's the everybody ate it. Bound to. I would. With me, if I was there, I'd eat it. He was still loved it. He still loved chocolate. Next, how did I go? There we're right. So this interface again also shows me which questions I got right and which ones I got wrong. I've got my score there and it says solid effort, Boris, well done. Finish the content quiz. Now the writing quiz. And what we've done is now blend in the writing skills that we want the student to learn alongside the story itself. And a quick question there I see, look, from Nick. Thank you, Nick. Can a teacher adjust the pass mark? No, we preset the pass marks. Is this a simple sentence? Oh, gosh. No. We'll just try. Yes, no, maybe. Let's go. Which of these is a simple sentence? Oh, that one. Next. Which of these sentences is a correct simple sentence? Oh, blimey. Try that one. You should use a simple sentence when you are writing for a very young reader. You don't want to sound clever. You want your message to be clear and easily understood. You can't be bothered being fancy. Well, of course, it's number 4, isn't it? Which we're in a paragraph to simple as best. Well, probably anywhere. You know, excitement. Too many simple sentences in a row. You know this, you've been to my seminars, I hope you should have. What effect of too many simple sentences in a row is, of course, your writing sounds dull, boring, and repetitive, all of the above. Absolutely. Number 8, nailed that one. Sentences you write one after, I don't know, try that one. Next, first sentence better than the second sentence. Oh, try that. Solid effort, and I finish. There's plenty of work here for your students to do as they make their way through the learning journey that has been preset for them. You can see here using a traffic light system, what was previously red for Boris on his module quiz and his mega chocolate story is now green. He's progressing. He's obviously passed it. I can have another go. I've actually passed 50% pass rate. I've passed the quiz, but I can have a go at trying to improve my score. And there's lots of material. As you go through the modules at year 7, the students should be learning the very short sentence, the adverb, the W, the red, white, and blue. They're here. By year 7, students should be increasingly competent at all these sentence styles, and they can do the quizzes, the modules, watch the videos on all those sentence styles as they work through their learning journey. So that's the personalized part of the module architecture. The second part that I said I talked about is this: if you just go in cold, so to speak, and I can just click on Learn, and it takes me to all the modules. The architecture of the site has been built so that there are basics, developing, proficient, and advanced, 4 different levels. And I can go through, and if I want to learn on a particular topic, how to write a plan, what's an essay, what's formal language, I can click on that and I go through to the module where I have the same thing happening. Video to watch, material on what that topic is, activities I can download, and a quiz to test my capability. Exciting thing here is that there's enough material here built for your student right through their schooling experience. By the time you're doing modules at the advanced level, you are now being taught as my first year university students. By the time you're at the top end of here, you will be writing competently at a level that will ease you in to tertiary or post-school experience anywhere in the world. You'll know all you need to know about writing. So that's the module architecture. And you'll have some fun with that, and your students will too. I know that. In the last few minutes we have together, let's now look at the other aspects of this performance page, which is this. All the time you write as a student, the things that you write on the site are being read by the software, and artificial intelligence is analyzing how you write, the quality of your writing all the time, and feeding that information back. And here for you as a student and also for you as a teacher is a snapshot of your students' ability and where they're up to. Any of these screens, to find out more about them, you just click on the screen and it flips over, and there you have that particular aspect of writing explained. For those of you who have Writer's Toolbox open at the moment, you can do this at your leisure. It's the same for your students as it is for you as a teacher. You've both got easy access to this. Average sentence length is vital. I've selected here on this interface, and we will add more as the years progress, but I've initially put up some of the leading indicators to help you help your students. Average sentence length is important. The moment your average sentence length gets over 20, and especially as it begins to climb through the high 20s and gets anywhere near 30 words per sentence on average, that writing is too dense to follow. If you want to be understood, if you want to be clear when you write, keep an average sentence length somewhere between 16 and 20. For younger students still, we advise younger, and we certainly have got some numbers around that with younger children as they begin to learn mastery over the sentence. But 16 to 20, safe ground. Mastery. Well, once you can write the sentence, you've got it. But what about mastery? And what Writer's Toolbox is doing is going and reading your work and says, well, look, Ian, you can write that W start sentence, and I can see one of them there, which is great, but have you got mastery? And these pens here will go dark as your students demonstrate mastery in a particular sentence style. It says here, according to my year level, year 7, I should have mastery over 8 different sentence styles. And as the site reads that I've cast that particular style 10 or more times, that pen will change color and I'll start to show my depth of skill. Paragraphs. This is measuring the average paragraph length. Target paragraph length, as it says there, again, varies by age. The child doesn't start off expecting to cast paragraphs of 150 words or 160 words. That's just nonsense. The child will start off, and ideally, as they begin to launch their career in writing paragraphs, you'd be wanting paragraphs around about 80 words long. That's 4 or 5 sentences. But then that begins to expand as they themselves advance in their chronological age. And we see here, my paragraphs are 76 words. I'm just a bit on the boundary. It wants, for me as year 7, it's really looking for that to be close to 100 words a paragraph at this stage in my development. Fluency. Fluency is how many sentence styles I'm casting on average per paragraph. It's different from mastery. Mastery is over all the writing I can see this going on. Fluency is per paragraph. When I pick that pen up and I write, on average, how many sentence styles am I using in the delivery of that paragraph? And again, that's a wonderful indicator of fluency, both of my originality and of my clarity, but also of my depth of thought, because inevitably, if the child doesn't develop fluency, they will run out of capacity to say the things they're trying to say with a pen. You can't do everything with a simple sentence. You need other forms of sentences to cast the things that you're trying to say deeply and well. So as I said in the week earlier, the sentence is the thought surfaced. The paragraph is the thought fully rendered. And to do that well, to allow the capacity that you really have as a thinker and as a writer to shine, you need a full toolkit of sentences, which is what Writer's Toolbox is actually all about. Well, time's almost run out for today. I wish you, as we head into this Easter weekend, a blessed and a safe Easter weekend, and look forward to catching up with you all back again next Tuesday. Till then.